podcast pals. It is now episode number 2. I have taken off and I'm starting to feel a little bit more airborne. Yeah, that good feeling, the mojo is starting to kick in for me, and that's starting to feel pretty good at this point. And so last week, we had a brief introductory episode on the podcast on finding meaning. I hope you enjoyed the little notion on that. And by the way, if you've not checked it out yet, please do. It may just set the tone for what is to come on the pod. Leading us into this week's episode, I would like for us to muse a little on a new topic: Inception. And so I spent some time musing long and hard on Inception, or the existence of. And I came to rather an uncomfortable discovery, if you will. I know you're probably asking, Inception or the existence of what? And that's a really good question. It is as simple as inception or the existence of anything. It is really the notion that the genesis of things are revelatory to the reason or the meaning or purpose for the thing in the first place. So let me start by saying that, I have a few quirks that as we go along and get to know one another, you will notice that I have a so-called penchant for definitions of things, or a love to dwell in definitions, if you will. And so with that, let's get some definitions to kick off our conversation. According to the Oxford Dictionary, existence, the state or fact of being real, or living or being present, and chaos, the state of complete confusion and lack of order, or like I like to put it, the randomness or unpredictable behaviors in systems governed by deterministic laws. Well, that's a mouthful. And so what I'm proposing here is that existence is merely a testament to chaos, and chaos, the veracity of existence. All right, so let me do away with the poetic sounding and philosophical banters here. Let's break this down a little more. So, picture a bustling traffic intersection and consider it chaos. Now, think of each vehicle navigating through it as existence. Constant movement amid the unpredictability of traffic mirrors how our existence is a testament to the chaos around us, or even vice versa. Just like cars find their way through their intersection, we navigate life in the midst of unpredictability. Our existence is based on us planning. And this could be planning our days or planning our weeks, or given that it's early in the year, it could be planning our year with New Year resolutions and such. And all of these are plans to minimize the chaos or the state of unpredictability that life hands us. And so, what I'm saying here is that humans are the marvel of existence in the complex system called life. Has it ever occurred to you to think, why were you the one? Yeah? Why did it have to be you? Why were you that one cell of all the ones that could have fertilized that egg? Why you? The cell that made it through the Great Migration. See what I did there? Side note. See, if you catch the reference, the kids today, and if you're keeping up with the times, the kids today say, if you know, you know. Nature is beautiful, and like great migrations in nature, they all don't make it through the migration, and there are always fatalities. Hence, the cell that made it through the Great Migration. All right, back to our storyline. So evidently, you were the one that gathered enough kinetic energy and raced through, if anything, an abysmal and accentuated hostile environment, not taking no for an answer, to hopefully, and I double click on that, hopefully, to be the one to find an egg to fertilize. Have you ever taken the time to ponder on this and appreciate your arrival here? Ever? Yeah? I mean, we could both agree that it is without a wedge of a doubt that you made it here against all odds. And if it has been a while since you heard this, please grant me the privilege and the honor to say to you, welcome. Welcome to what, as Oxford puts it, the state of being real or being present. What a journey, champ. You've overcome one of the highest levels of unpredictability, getting to the finish line against millions and millions of counterparts. The other selves that could have been your brothers or sisters. And here we are in the state of being real, present amongst the rest of us. And so from me to you, if it's been a minute, again, welcome. So here's my question to you. And again, it is, why you? At first, there were millions, and then only a fraction of that, and then of that, only a fraction, and there was one. Well, in some cases, two or three. Come to think of it, to my recollection, there has not been a much more generous woman that has graced us with more than 9 babies at once. Although this may have happened with some medical intervention, but certainly not more than 9. And here you are. What a champ. So, two things to notice here is that there is a certain cadence to becoming or winning or arriving. And the sound, or if you will, that tune you got to move or dance to. Yeah. And this duo is simply what I refer to as pain with a sprinkle of adversities. So usually it is my heuristics to try my best to find the signal in the noise when solving problems. And I've come to realize that a lot of the time when solving problems, what is usually needed is finding the signal in the noise. And so it is evident that complex problems have complex solutions. Seldom would it be a single point of success when switched on makes everything work. Oftentimes, when that is the case, the problem was probably not well understood to start with. And so then, like solving a problem, the pain in becoming is really finding that signal in the noise, that switch that would lead to eventually solving the problem. Like the cell that is trying to navigate through that hostile environment that is not welcoming, and as if the process of that migration is not enough, it comes with additional adversities. And so if you've lived long enough, you would know that life is full of naysayers. I mean, the cells trying to get that fertilization going are migrating in a really challenging, hostile, or chaotic environment, one where it is difficult to perform. And so here we are, the cadence to becoming. And what that really is some pain with a sprinkle of adversities. Well, in case you haven't picked up on the question yet, or the question behind the question is really, what is the purpose of the thing? The genesis of the one you have become. And perhaps more pertinent to that question is, why you? It's really that purpose talk. So, struggles, pain with a sprinkle of adversities, hostile environment, if anything at all, this is beginning to sound more like chaos than anything else. Although this chaos is accompanied by a lot of meaning. And while meaning is not all we need, because yes, we could have meaning without reason, and that certainly wouldn't make for a great conversation, finding meaning is a great start, unequivocally. How does this sound for a flare of meaning? Yeah. I arrived. I was born. I achieved a state of being. And my existence here on earth is a testimonial to a victory. That to me is a sensible and meaningful deduction of a journey we have all taken to be here. Again, why you? Purpose. In case you wondered, a little chaos is needed to lead us to the meaning, and in turn, that is a segue to the purpose of the thing in question. Quick story, I remember being a little kid, call it about 10, 11 years of age. And here I was with a school assignment, and the assignment was to get a little sponge and soak that in water, place the sponge in a container, then take one grain of my choosing. Could have been a bean or some nut, any grain really, and slot that into that sponge and watch it struggle. Yeah, literally, watch it struggle. In essence, this was watching the grain going through some pain with a little of sprinkle of adversities, like I like to say. Well, could you imagine if the little cutie grain could talk back and formulate thought and reason with me? It would probably sound like, "Hey man, hey buddy, what you doing, man? I ain't no fish. How you put me in this water, man? I thought we were boys. Dang it, man. I thought we were boys. How you gonna do me like that, man? How you gonna do me like that?" That's my best attempt at grain to human impersonation. Well, a couple of days later, biological principles would prevail, and boom, a radical is sprouting, and just like that, against all odds, the chaos has produced meaning, and the little grain has found new purpose, to which it would hold allegiance to old age. Purpose. So, evidently, purpose is tied to meaning. Yes, and meaning to a little bit of chaos, and yes, that to some pain with a sprinkle of adversities. Just know that, yes, you may have discovered the purpose of the thing. However, it takes some chaos to reveal its meaning, along with some pain and sprinkle of adversities. I'm starting to warm up to this little phrase. It's managed to make me feel much more like a poet here. Somebody signed me up for a Shakespeare role already. I jest. Very quickly, let's take an interrogative thoughts journey together, shall we? Picture the creation of anything, destructive or constructive. Well, these were meant to bring about a solution to a problem, or satisfy a need, if you will. That's business management 101 right there. So, whether the problem at hand was noble to solve or not, that's semantical. The point is that there was a problem, and this brought a solution. Practical example to this: the very microphone I use today to convey my thoughts to you was created to bridge the vocal input gap between the world in which I find myself and that you inhabit. So think about this. This same tool may have been used to convey violence and or pain, while it could have also been used for good or constructive news to let everyone that needed to hear it. Whether positive or negative, the tool is exactly that, a tool, simply used for communication. Remember what we said earlier. Definitions of things are a good place to start. They may not give us the purpose for the thing in the immediate, but how we define them is certainly a good start. Whether the solution to the problem is noble, that's discretionary. The point is, the creation was meant to solve and bridge a gap. And this is true from the most useless machine to the most useful rocket. The notion sustained across the spectrum is purpose. And purpose, the art of dying and finding meaning for the thing for which you died. Painful, I know. So as you go through your day, your week, and things are chaotic and you find yourself up in arms, remember to take a moment and acknowledge the hostile world you are in, the pain and the sprinkle of adversities, and find meaning in the thing you are going through. Always remember why you, because you were the chosen one for the problem. You are the one with the winning DNA. This is not an accident. Why you? Because you hold the purpose. Embrace the pain and the sprinkle of adversities it brings. Find purpose and meaning and go conquer the world. Cheers.